program. Okay. All right. So now what I want to show you is what I think is the best solution ever that we have to offer, and it's called Laserfish. And what it is that's where, if you'll remember, in the three-step process, you could have the most savings at 75% potential savings by automating your workflows. Laserfish is what allows you to do that. So I'm going to show you two processes, the two that I referenced in the conference room that are typically give companies a big headache: the accounts payable process and expense report process. So Laserfish is a certified document retention tool. So you'll recognize this looks like Windows, right? So it's pretty intuitive, easy to understand because most people are familiar with Windows Outlook. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, so where I went is under accounting. This is the accounts payable process I'm going to show you. So we went to accounting, and under accounts payable and inbox, I'm going to show you what happens when someone scans an invoice. Let's say you get an invoice from a company. We're going to go scan it in at a device over here. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is, let's say I'm a company and I'm received an invoice. Somebody just has to walk up to a multifunctional device and scan it in. So I'm going to say scan to server and the address book, and it's already programmed. Laserfish is already programmed in here. So I'm going to do OK and hit start, and it's going to scan this into Laserfish. Okay. So what it did is, somebody would receive an email or know that they need to go in here in the accounts payable and look in this inbox that there's an invoice in here. So you just open it up, and there it is. So all some accounts payable person would have to do in this case, because this is already set up with a template for accounts payable process, is so they would just take like an invoice number here and input it, 91241, and then put in a purchase order number, 45226, and that's all they have to do. And that's done. Now you hit just close out of it, and you'll notice this is going to go away. Okay, so see, there was one document already in there. So my document that I just processed went away, because where it moved is it went to the manager to be approved. So I'm going to go down here to users, and this lists all the users here. And I'm Molly Manager, and oh, by the way, if I'm Molly Manager, I don't see the rest of these people, because for security purposes, if you can only see what you're authorized to see, essentially. So in this case, she would just see her own name. And it says here's AP invoices waiting approval, and here's the one that we just sent. So all she has to do is go in and look at it, see if everything looks fine. And there's a history over here that says exactly who did what and when. So there's historical for, say, auditing purposes. And then all she has to do is go up here under her manager. It says pending approval, and if everything looks fine, she's going to hit approve, and then she's going to close out of it. Done. And now this one's going to move, because this happens to be a two-step approval process. So it's going from Molly Manager. It's now moved to Connie Controller. Same process. She goes in here, says, okay, I've got something I need to approve. She opens it up. Everything looks fine. It's now added that Molly Manager approved it. And now Connie Controller up here does the same thing. If everything looks fine, she approves it, closes out of it. It goes to Alex AP, who is going to basically cut the check. So he sees, okay, I've got approved invoices here. And he basically shows that everything was approved. And so he cuts the check, basically. So he can say paid. It says no now. He's going to say yes, it's paid. And close out of it. Again, moves. And now it's going to move up here to accounts payable invoices. And this was a Wolfskin invoice, so it automatically created a folder for this vendor, essentially. And so that's already done. And now, it would also have a copy of the check here afterwards. And now this can now move into basically the file room storage. Because it's done, and now it goes into the file room under invoices, and it's done. So you can see how a paper-based process takes a long time. If somebody needs 2 managers to approve it, let's say one's on vacation, it sits on their desk till they get back. I mean, it just takes a very long time. It's all paper-based. There's great room for error. You saw how fast this took. You just go in, you click a couple buttons, it moves on to the next person. You can set, so it's all routed, and you can set up that if someone doesn't, approve this within a certain time frame, it goes to someone else, like if someone's on vacation or whatever. So it's a very automated process, which greatly expedites this. I can give you an example of our own company. When we implemented this in our own company, we had 2.5 people processing invoices. This was back in like 2008. And 2 ladies, and then we had a part-time person, so like 2.5 people processing invoices, and they were maxed out. And so we implemented this process, and once it got past the learning curve, they love it. And now, fast forward to this year, we have doubled in size of company, doubled the size of invoices that need to be paid, but we're down to 2 people. It's the same 2 ladies, but now we don't need the part-time person at all, and we still have room to grow, and we've doubled in size. So you can see how automating this, it goes much faster for auditing purposes. It keeps track of everything. So if you were ever audited, you could very quickly find what you need and don't have to go and store documents at Iron Mountain and pay a fortune to do it, and then have to go retrieve those documents, which is very expensive. So that's the accounts payable process. So now what I want to show you is the expense report process. So I'm going to get out of this, and we're going to do an expense report real quick and show you, because this is another process that is very painful for a lot of people. Okay, so here's today's date, and I'm going to put my employee number in, and it automatically populates it based on that very quickly. And now I'm going to say I'm in sales, I'm the Dallas office, and my manager is Amber Neal. Okay, so you tell it that information. And now I'm going to do, basically I had a overnight hotel stay, and so I'm going to say on 7/24 I stayed in a hotel, and it was in Tulsa, 7/24 to 7/25, and it was $167.11. Okay, that was pretty easy. So now you see that it populated down here, and now I'm going to add one more expense. I had a meal on that day, so very quickly, 7/24, and it was a meal, and it was lunch for self, so no customers or anything, and it was $20, let's say. Okay, so now you see that it automatically added those 2 together, so there's no human intervention and no error there as far as like adding. If you had a bunch of receipts, that could be an issue. And now I'm done, so I'm going to go and upload my receipt that I've already scanned in. That would be human error there. Okay, here we go, expenses. Okay, so it's uploading my scanned document, and now basically I just sign my name. In this case it's John Ramsey, and that's saying yes, this is all true. So now I'm going to generate. So for anyone who travels a lot and has lots of receipts, you can see how this would greatly improve the whole expense report process, because it's not all, other than scanning your receipts, it's not paper-based at all. So basically, I've already shown you the approval process with the accounts payable. So essentially, this is the same process. So you have your expense report, and it just goes to the manager. They go in and click approve. It shows the receipts, all the same thing as the accounts payable process. A great example of how this can greatly benefit a customer is the University of Oklahoma. Their coaches who go out and recruit, so they're traveling all the time, have lots of expenses, taking the potential recruits out to dinner and all that kind of thing. They would come back to the office and have to do a paper-based process of processing all their expenses for however long, and then they would send it off, and it would take about 6 weeks to get their money, which if you do a lot of traveling, that can really add up and be detrimental. So they implemented the Laserfish expense report process, and now that is all automated, and it took a process that took 6 weeks to get paid down to 2 days. So that really shows the power of something like this and how much happier everybody is, that they have that process taken care of. So all the things I've shown you today, can you see how it would be beneficial to partner with someone who can help you in all these different aspects, as opposed to maybe someone who only specializes in one area?